Hello everybody, welcome to Bad Big Games. I'm your host Joseph, and with EA execs leaving the company and Battlefield 5 pre-orders weak and disappointing, what can EA do to actually fix their broken reputation? Today we're about to find out, so Future Joe, roll the intro. So earlier this week, Vice President of EA, Kiefer Sutherland, has left the company. After getting a $20 million bonus last year, Kiefer decided, you know what? He has to save the world. Being an action hero is a full-time job. What's this? Oh, not Kiefer Sutherland. Patrick Soderlund. Bad joke aside, but with Patrick Soderlund leaving, it opens a hole at EA because Patrick joined in 2006 when they bought out DICE. He was one of the founders of DICE, and he climbed up the ladder to become the VP of EA, and he was the most paid exec at the company. He was making bank before he left, and now with him leaving, you would think he left it in good hands because Battlefield 5 must be doing so well pre-order-wise, right? Well, according to some articles that I saw from Digital Trends, pre-orders are not looking good for Battlefield 5, and I think it echoes how everyone kind of feels about Battlefield at this moment. There's fatigue, and it's not with Battlefield in general. I'm not hyped for Battlefield, and I'm a huge Battlefield fan. I'm not hyped because there's a woman on the cover or that she has a prosthetic hand. I just don't trust you, EA. Just plain as day. Like, I should be over the moon for Anthem because BioWare has made some of my favorite RPGs of all time. I'm looking at you, Mass Effect 2. Oh my goodness, you're so great. And Dragon Age, I can respect it, though it's not for me. I love Dead Space. I should love Visceral Rip, but with all the things that EA has done, I can't get excited for any of their games. I can't get excited for Anthem. I can't get excited for Respawn's Star Wars game. I can't get excited for a Battlefront if there's a next one. I just can't because, I'll be honest with you, EA, I just don't trust you. And it's a sentiment that I hear from not just me, but any gamer that I talk to when they think of EA, that when I ask them about EA, it's usually negative. We just don't trust EA anymore. And yeah, there's going to be some naysayers and some detractors saying, well, Joe, you say that no one trusts EA, but they just posted record profits last year. And yes, they did, but they took some sacrifices on that, right? We saw Mass Effect's controversy. We saw Battlefront 2's controversy. That controversy, the loot box behind progression of a multiplayer game, brought governments into questioning whether or not they should start banning loot boxes or not. Battlefront 2, you can thank that game and that debacle for just killing loot boxes in general. Nobody wants them in their game anymore. And when you look around, when you look at Battlefield 5, when you look at a game like Anthem, where all BioWare's effort is now just towards this one singular game, what's everybody talking about, Anthem? It's not the cool mechs, it's not the awesome environments, it's not the combat. Every question that I hear is, okay, but how are you tackling DLC? Okay, though, but is there going to be loot boxes? Okay, but the microtransactions, let's talk about it. Even with Battlefield 5, and we've seen it this year, of EA in complete and utter damage control, because they know, as well as I do, is that, yeah, they could be posting record profits this year and next year, but if their reputation continues to go down the toilet, more and more people are just going to opt out of EA. So with that, how do we fix EA? What would I do if I'm Andrew Wilson and maybe also the Diablo? I don't trust him again. He looks like the devil. Listen, he does, right? Andrew Wilson looks like a guy who made a deal with the devil. The first time I saw him, he's at E3. He's in all black, silk hair. He has a devilish grin to him. Never trusted him. But now I'm in his position. So what do I do if I'm Diablo? I first need to fill that position of the senior president of EA. And I think what EA needs to do is find someone that represents what that company's ideals are, because there's a disconnect. We don't know what EA really does think, what their ideals really are. There's that disconnect. There's a kind of image dysmorphia that EA has, that they don't think their shit stinks, and it kind of does. And when I say that, I say that as someone who does love their games, but also realizes that they do have creators that love their jobs there. They do have people where this is their 9 to 5, this is their bread and butter, this is what puts the food on the table, supports their kids to go out to college and all that jazz. So I understand that. You need to get someone that shares those ideals, that wants to make EA, when someone looks at that logo, not just look at some company out to make as much money as they can on the latest trend, but to actually do something different and unique and special, and to bring that personality out. Look at Nintendo, they got Miyamoto. Look at Sony, they got Shuhei Yoshida. Look at Xbox, right? They got Phil Spencer. And Bethesda, the best example there is. They got Pete Hines and Todd Howard. Those two guys, I could hear them talk about, I don't know, trees for 3 hours, and I would be utterly entertained. Pete Hines is Bethesda's VP of marketing, and he's marketed that company so well that when you think of Bethesda, you think that, I could get a beer with Bethesda. I think of Bethesda like it's a person, right? When Pete Hines talks, he'll throw an F-bomb, an S-bomb. He doesn't care. He doesn't care because he's trying to be a person. He's trying to sell you on the fact that Bethesda is this entity that's more than making money. More than just even making games. It's the people making games that's important. Look at what he said this week about Sony's crossplay. He's even on the line, toting the line, saying, hey, we might not bring some games to other consoles who don't want crossplay because it's something that matters to us. Bethesda's so good at marketing themselves that you kind of forget their shitty review policy that they just reversed and how they muscled a guy from selling his used copy on Amazon. You forget about all that stuff and you start thinking about all the cool stuff that they do and what they say. And when they're on their E3 stage, they're bringing out the developers, they're bringing out their kids and what their parents do. It's awesome. It's so awesome, and that's what EA needs. Someone that represents their ideals and pushes that out so that we can understand them. So the second option is not as obvious, and that is EA needs to bolster the EA Originals program. And if you guys don't know what the EA Originals program is, it's actually really awesome. It's a program where EA makes little to no money on these games that they make, but they make them and they highlight these games because they deserve the spotlight. They're kind of doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They did it with Zoinks Games Faye. They did it with Hazelight and Joseph Forrest's game A Way Out, which was super successful. But every time they did that, like with A Way Out, it was super successful. It sold over 1 million copies in less than 2 weeks. And what they need to do with the EA Originals is get more indie teams, spotlight them, and give them time on the EA E3 showcase stage. Don't give us this Madden crap. Don't give us this FIFA crap. We don't need shoutcasters on stage. We need developers. We need developers talking about their relationship with EA, how great it's been, and all the support they're getting. It's just an act of goodwill. We saw, and I'm going to butcher her name, but this is the reason why I say this. Cornelia Goupert. Oh man, I did. She's a German creative director. She's making the game Sea of Solitude. You saw her on that E3 stage, and it was one of my highlights of E3 because you saw her nervous. English is her second language, right? She's German, and she's nervous. She's technically standing on the stage, and thousands of people are watching her. But at the same time, she's so excited because she's sharing this game that she's been locked away for so much, and it means so much to her, and she's releasing it to everybody. Right? She's finally getting this off her chest, and seeing that's a genuine moment. And what EA Originals lets EA have is those moments that they desperately need to personalize themselves. They need more people like Cornelia and Joseph Fares. They need more of those creators. And the one thing that they could do with the EA Originals too is make AA experiences of their own games. Bring some back from the dead. Bring Dead Space back. You killed Visceral, but bring back Dead Space and do it right. Bring back Mirror's Edge. Bring back some of these lost titles that people know you as, you are the person that buys developers and then sends them off to their graves. How about let's start resurrecting these games and making them something special more than just cash grabs. And the last thing that EA needs to do is stop hopping on every single bandwagon. I remember when Battlefield 5 got announced and it was rumored that they were going to have a Battle Royale mode, and when they didn't announce it at their announcement trailer, we breathed a sigh of relief, right? But then at their E3 press conference, they're like, we have a Battle Royale game too. It's called Battlefield Battle Royale. It was met with audible groans. I get it, EA. You're a company. You need to make money. You need to appease the stock holders. But at the end of the day, by jumping on every single trend, whether for good or for bad, it makes you look kind of scummy. So with that, with Battlefield 5, with Anthem, unfortunately, our trust is at an all-time low, and you're going to have to take your lumps. And I think EA understands that, because when we look at Battlefield 5, we look at it knowing that there's something going to go wrong here. You know, something somewhere in the microtransaction, there's going to be some type of controversy. And with Anthem, we think the same thing again. We think something wrong is going to happen. And where EA, the way that they rectify this is by proving us wrong time and time again, making us think that they've learned their lesson because they need to. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, that's what my thoughts are on EA. That's how they bring their reputation back up. And that's how we get to be, I guess, respectful to one another again, because I want to love you, EA. I really do. I love your games. I just don't like the decisions you make. And I want to love your Star Wars games, but man, you make it real hard sometimes. So with all that said, I want to know what you guys think of EA down below. Do you think of them in a positive light, a negative light, somewhere in the middle? Let me know what you think, and let me know how you would fix their reputation down below, because here at Bad Big Games, it's all about the conversation. We don't care if you play on the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, PC. It doesn't matter. It's all about the games. And with that, if you love rants like these, impressions videos, unboxings, even we have a PlayStation podcast called The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players every single Wednesday. And it's so much fun to do. Please hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. It helps us out. It helps build this big, beautiful family called Bad Big Games. And I want to thank our Patreons over at patreon.com/makeusbetter for making me better day in, day out. So with all that said, and with all that out of the way, Future Joe, get me out of here. Keep your wits about you, and have a nice one.